for Play Blast, if you want to see this particular window pop up, what you have to do is you have to go to either the shelf by itself, under the animation shelf, and then you will see the first thing appears there is Play Blast. If you don't see it, go to the playback here, right? Tap at the top here, and you click on it. The first thing that appears is Play Blast. Okay. So if you want to set each settings, whenever you see this small box on each of the drop down menus, any menus, that is settings. Very simple. Okay. Click on the settings if you want to set up to a different timeline or time stretch or whatever, not all the settings, the output settings and so on and so forth. Okay. So Play Blast a loop, practically it will just Play Blast just one frame, only that part. Okay. So if you want to do the loop, and then you just have to go to your editing software and just make it loop. Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, done. Okay. You don't really need that at this point of time. For the final, I'll show you how to do a play editor. So it will show you how to edit your animation like in Premiere Pro. So you will have a full sequence. Okay? Clear? Okay. Now, when you see this, first thing in this options, Play Blast options settings. So here, just go for your time slider, or you can set up your start and end. So you can tell the settings to pick on any time that you, or any frame till what frame from start to end. Okay, under the playback, you must be under animation. Okay, under animation, now you see this. You'll see file, edit, create, select, modify, display, windows, key, and playback. Okay, click on the playback, and then you will see the first menu that is called Play Blast. Okay, clear? And you will see one small box, transparent outline box. Okay, every time you see that box, that is for settings. Okay, so click on the settings, and then this particular window will pop up, the setting window will pop up. And now what you have to do, all you have to do is set up your Play Blast. Okay, again, time slider is whatever time that has been shown or existing timeline that you are showing on your timeline, what they call range here. Okay, if you want to set up your time specifically, maybe you just want to see 5 seconds, you can just go to start and end, and then eventually set up how many frames, from 1 to 100, from 1 to 55, up to you. Okay, so it will play to that range. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, you can use the sequence time if you want to. If you don't want to, you can just off it. Just use sequence time and test it out and see. Sequence time is whatever you have already set up. 30 frames per second, then it uses that sequence time. Make sense? If it's 24, then 24. By default, what you have done by default, or whatever that has been given by default by Maya, so that is what it will Play Blast from, that time frame. Okay? Okay. If you want to have multi-camera output, then you can just click on it and you can shift the cameras and so on and so forth. Okay, that is later on. For now, just off all this. You don't need all this. Leave it as it is. Okay, you can explore if you want to. Okay, under settings of AVI. AVI normally it's a very old method. Okay. You might want to go to QuickTime. You got QuickTime or AVI. If you don't have QuickTime installed in your PC, you might not get this QT. Okay, there are 3 options: QuickTime, AVI, and image. Image means sequence, image sequence, like sprites. So you don't want to get sprites unless you render it. Okay. So up to you, whichever that you prefer. So QuickTime, and you can look for H264, H.264. That is the best options that I foresee. You can try any other encodings, but this is the common one that will be used for a better quality. Okay. Okay. The quality at the bottom here, it states that if it's 0 or 70% of what you have rendered depending on your display. Okay. So the quality, if is 100%, it will give you a better output. Make sense? Okay. If it's 0 or 70 and all that, the quality drops. It will be a little bit more jarring and a little bit more grainy. Simple, huh? Clear? Okay. Next thing is display size. Okay, from here is from window, whatever you're seeing now, whatever you're seeing from your viewport, it will just pick up from there. If you are going to go from render settings, you have to drop down this menu and then you have to click on the render settings. Or if you want to go for custom, then you can, oh, angry man, sorry man. So yeah, if you want to go for custom, then you can always customize your size of the output. You want to go for 2K, 5K, 20K, whatever K, you can go ahead and do it. Alright. But for Play Blast, you don't need to go like 1080p and all that. You know what I mean? 720 is more than enough. 720p. Okay. So if it's if you want to do it with render settings, just click on the render settings and make sure that you see these tabs here. You see beside the hyper shade, you'll see this blue ball sphere there, okay, on your top menu, okay, the icons there. Click on the one beside on the left hand side. You will see with a gear, what they call it, the director's slate, right? So it will have this gear attached to it on the icon. So click on it and the render setting window will pop up. Okay, here you can go ahead and then you can always choose your Arnold or any other plugins that you have, or if you want to use software, just use software or whatever not. Okay, for now, for some reason my Arnold is not showing. I need to go back and fix it. If you have Arnold, just click on Arnold, but end of the day, the most important is the size of your output. So how do you get your format? So you can see the file output. If you open up this render settings, if you don't set up any of this render using and so on and so forth, you will see at the bottom here file output, color management and file output. Color management, you don't need to go and touch it now. In the future, maybe if you're doing like a big project or big production, then you might be advised on that. So you don't need to think about that. You can skip this. You can just look at the file output. Okay, you just click here and for me, I will go either for PNG sequence or JPEG sequence, depending on what I want. Okay, you'll be given a lot of options here. So remember, for your final animation, please do not render in video format. The reason why being is it will compress your final output, and when you bring it to any editing software, when you're doing editing and then your final output you export it, you will compress again, so your quality drops. So that's why they go for image sequences. Image sequences will maintain the quality, but it's slightly huge in terms of the file. Make sense? Okay, advisable in that manner. So you can play along, I mean you can test it however you want. But my advice so far, using in the industry, we use more on the JPEG sequence, image sequence. JPEG, if you don't have any alphas, you don't want any alphas, it's straightforward. there's one image, everything is rendered in, then JPEG sequence. If you want a character by itself and then you want to composite it, then you go for PNG sequence. Okay, this is just a little brief okay, on rendering. Not going to touch that much on this, but later on if you plan to carry forward with Maya, then this is quite essential for you to know basics of Maya. Now what I'll do is I'll just click on this and just go for my PNG sequence, Kapush, okay. And then you drop down this menu, the image size here, okay. When you scroll down, you just have to scroll it, okay, scroll it down, you see this sidebar, just bring it down and you will see the image size, okay. Under the image size, if you drop down the menu on the presets, you will have 1K square, 2K square, 3K square, 4K square. That is for texture and so on and so forth. 1K square means it is 1024 times 1024. It is just a square. Okay, so it's not 1K video size. You have to drop down this menu. You have to scroll down a little bit. Look for HD. Okay, again go for full 1024, just HD first. Okay, focus on the HD. Just go for 720 or 1080. Okay, clear? Clear? The others you can feel free to go and test it out. Okay, don't be afraid. Remember, you have to control the software rather than the software controls you. Okay. 720 is enough. So here resolution you can pump it up to 150, 200, 300, 500, 1005, up to you. The higher you go, the bigger your file is, the better the quality is, but the size is huge and the render time is going to take a lot more hours compared to the lower resolution. Okay. This one is simple. You work with Photoshop before, right? So the bigger the resolution, the DPI is, the nicer the quality output is. The reason why you have higher DPI is for you to enlarge your image without losing the details, the quality. Got it? So this one you only pump it up when you're doing your final rendering. For now, you can just leave it at 72. If you want to pump it up a little bit, maybe 100. Done. Okay? 100 should do. It's fair enough, not 1000. Yeah. Okay? Then you just close it. Kapush. Okay? Once you have already set that, it's already set, you can save it. I'm going to save it. Kapush. Okay? Now, you can, under your Play Blast here, you can scale this to 50%. If let's say you do HD 1080p, then you want to save this, you want to scale this into half of that, maybe to 720 maybe, or half of 180p, then it just explains that. You know what I mean? If it's 100%, then it will be 720p. Make sense? Okay, try out and see. Do not be afraid of trying. Okay, don't be scared. It's not the end of the world. So some of you guys will go like, hey, can I increase this? I'm so scared it will crash and all that. If it crashes, just open back again. That's it. It's not the end of the world. Okay. So what you can do is you can save this file as well straight away. Every Play Blast you can save. But the thing is, you have to be careful when you're clicking on this. Make sure you browse and then you put it at any designated folder that you have created, anywhere, any drive, or where you want to have in different partitions or different locations. You can just save it to that particular location. You can create a window folder called 3D animation game project 1 or whatever not, right? Then you start creating. Okay. Scale. Can go for 100. 1. Okay. 1 or 50. Try it out and see. Okay. Maximum is 1. Alright. Here, by default, it will fall under the Maya project, which is on your document. The location is, just click on the folders, look for your folder, and go for your documents. Okay, under Maya, look for projects, or it will straight give you the location. Okay, for me it's under 2017 because I've already set my project. Okay, so you can look for the movies and you can just direct your path to this particular folder, or if you have different locations, just put it in different location, easier for you to access and for you to see. Clear? Super clear? Anyone confused? Anyone lost? Go where? Choose which one? Yeah, if you check it, only it will save the file. If not, it won't save the file. It will just constantly overwrite on each of the file. A temporary only. Okay? Clear? Okay. Wow. Are you fine? Want to wash yourself? Okay. Here, let's say I name it as idle. Oops. It's gone. Okay. Under the movie file, I'll name it as idle. Okay. I've already browsed my folder and I'll just have to look for it. Okay. And I'll just play blast. Okay. Before you do your play blast, just to be safe, since you're doing with render settings and so on, you see these options here, you'll see a grid under your viewport menu here. This viewport, this viewport panel here, you will see view, shading, lighting, show, render, and panels. Correct? Below that, you will have the icons to state that what is happening and so on and so forth. What can you click and what can you not click? You can just hover your mouse around to give you all the informations that is needed. So since Maya has already upgraded, and then you can see this has been upgraded since 2015 onwards, 2012 onwards actually, viewport 2.0, so you can straight away get your informations from your viewport. It will give you a real-time rendering. But remember, if your PC or your machine is not strong enough, the moment you click all this motion blurs and shadows and so on and so forth, it is going to be too heavy. If your graphic card is not strong, it will lag. Okay, so go ahead and play with it and see what happens. Okay, so you will see a divider for each. Okay, each menus it is broken down to all these menus. Okay, so you have this view, the first tab, and then you for shading, this is the shading tab, or this is the shading tab, the render, and so on and so forth. Okay, just hover through, it will give you the information. Okay, clear? This is little basics. Under here you will see a grid. Okay, an icon that shows grid. If you want to off it, you can off it, on it, up to you. And then you want to have like resolution gate on. The reason why you on the resolution gate is to make sure that everything is within that frame. Got it? Just click on it, or you can just go ahead and just click on all these icons and see. Okay, don't be scared. It is not going to change the whole sequence and so on and so forth. It's just a view that you want to have. Clear? Okay, so it should be falling within the frame, your camera. Okay? Clear? Excuse me. Okay. Now, when you do your play blast, if you don't want to see all these controls, it's very simple. Go to show and off this NURBS control curves. You off it, you will get the entire mesh alone. Okay. By showing here, you can just off all these dudes if you want to, surfaces, your CVs, and so on and so forth. You can off all these three. The first three, whatever you don't want it to be shown, you can just off it. So it's clearer for you to see your play blast output. Can I? Am I going too fast? Clear? Okay, now if you wanted to see like with AO, ambient occlusion, you can just click on the ambient occlusion and you will see the characters rendering the output real time, how it's going to look. It gives more detailed definition. Okay, just on your viewport. It's not rendered yet. You see this? You see this spheres? You see like a motion trail, and you'll see another one more called screen space ambient occlusion. Okay, just click on it. You can go ahead and click on all this and see how it works. Okay. Yeah. Whatever play blast is, whatever you're seeing here, whatever it's on screen, it will just play blast. The only difference is the output size. Whether you want to follow your settings on the based on your rendering settings or whatever you're seeing on the panel window. Make sense? Okay, try it out and see, and just write it down a simple note. Okay, all these notes you can just write it down in your blog. Okay, you guys have to create a blog. You have to have your own blog. Why is to show what you have learned. I'm not asking you all to write an essay, but points for you to do a reflective of what you have learned. Like how we did it with 3D modeling. Yeah, just make a behance. Existing ones. Okay, you don't need to go and create a brand new one unless you have not created at all. Clear? Right? Use a Behance or use a Behance portfolio or whatever not. Just create a simple tab for 3D animation for games and just list down what you have learned week 1, week 2, week 3 and so on and so forth. Put some images and videos. You can embed a video to it and then just play it on. And make sure that you post your blog, because that comes under your e-portfolio. The marks is 10%. Okay? So you'll get some marks for that, definitely. Clear? You don't need to go crazy again. In point forms is enough. Enough to state what I've learned. What is this particular function does. Okay? Clear? So now you go to your Play Blast settings again. You can now click Play Blast. See, when it's play blasting, it will make the screen smaller and then it will do your play blast. Ta-da! So it's not moving anything. Why, man? So if you want your settings, you can just double click on this, look at time slider. What's happening? Quick time 100%, blah blah blah. Correct, right? Apply. It's supposed to run from 0 to 39 frames. Unfortunately, it's not working for mine, but if you want it to work, you just have to click on this, make sure If it's not working, just go here and just put up to 30, up to 39 or 33. Is it too much? Too much? Everything is too much, right?
It's new.
Yeah.
It's new. It changes one mindset.
I like that thinking.
It's new.
Okay, change it, change it. It's new. Okay. Well, when you talk about technicals for animation, technicality is a lot compared to 3D modeling. 3D modeling is quite straightforward. It's just mesh building. But since you're talking about animation, there's a lot of controls, constraints, and so on and so forth to be considered. The graph and blah blah blah.
It's new.
Okay. So I'll try again. Yes. That's weird.
So, Jarvis one don't have page. Mine neither. It's 263. I don't even have that. I only have ABI or image.
Okay, if you don't have it, just go here. If it's not QuickTime, okay, just go for animation. Will do. Yeah. Okay, you can look for animation and then you can create the animation for. If QuickTime is not working, go for AVI and leave it as none.
Maybe because you make SVIGC.
Maybe. Okay. So if it's AVI, just click on AVI and try it and see. For some reason, it is not working well on mine. It's just stagnant. By right, it should render the whole sequence. Okay. For some reason. Sorry? Let me check again. Huh? So if you don't have QuickTime, it's fine.
But what if you don't have any option aside from ABI or image?
AVI definitely have. There's no way you're going to run away from AVI.
Everything except you only have that. No,
Nothing
nothing else.
else.
Yeah.
Then just use that.
So, okay. So when I change the Jarvis one to ABI, then it cannot be done. Unable to visit the license.
Then restart again. Okay. If you're still having some problems with this, then restart. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Now it works. You know why? This is what happens when you go for your Play Plus settings. Okay. Off this sequence time. Off it. Okay. Uncheck it. Go for QuickTime. If you have QuickTime, if you don't have QuickTime, just go for AVI. Simple as that. Under AVI, do not compress it. I don't want any codec. Okay. Under AVI, if it's AVI, encoding is none. If it's AVI, encoding is none. Okay. If it's QuickTime, go here. If you don't have H.264, then you just look for animation. Animation, the file will be slightly bigger, but animation normally retains the quality of your final output. Remember this. This will be applied for your compositing as well. When you're doing After Effects, when you're doing your premieres and so on and so forth, for broadcasting purpose, you always, when you're working with broadcasters in Astro or Media Prima or any local or even overseas BBC or whatever not, make sure your final output is QuickTime animation. It retains the quality. Yeah. Okay? It's big. The file is big. Gig. Alright? It goes by gigs. Okay? Now you play Blast. Say OK. It will now do the play Blast for you. Ta-da-da! See that? So if you want it to loop, then you just go here under your player and then right click or go and look for a repeat and play forever. Okay? Clear? Huh? Why is it so fast? Still quite fast. Did you animate on 24?
So I just figured out how to fix that problem, so I'm gonna go home and redo all the shit.
You can do it. I trust in you. I always have faith in all of you. Can I? Okay. Another thing is, if it's too fast, Bukhari, if it's too fast, you go for your animation settings here, your preferences, the dude at the bottom here beside your auto key, double click on it. Okay? Double click on it. Under the playback speed, make sure 30 frames times 1. 30 frames times 0.5, what does it say? It slows down your motion. If 30 frames times 2, it speeds up the motion. Okay? Clear? But when you do your animation with 24 frames and then you convert it to 30 frames, the animation becomes fast. Clear? It shrinks it and it makes it really fast. That's the difference. Or if you're going to go from 24, you animate in 24. If your output, if you're going to change it to 60 frames, it would be super fast. Double the speed. Okay? Test it out. Please test it out and see. Okay? So, can guys, y'all can? Can? Cool.